They say in football that defense wins championships, and that's great for football. But in business, it's all about going on offense. And today's episode is going to discuss exactly why being on offense is way better than playing from a defensive position. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children 18 plus. You are tuned in to the Loan Officer Podcast with me, Dustin Owen, and my main man,
JC.
John Coleman.
Yo, what's poppin'?
Well, not my UCF Knights.
Trash.
Yeah, right now they're not playing so hot. They are not playing so hot.
Did you
Now,
go to the game?
although, like when we record this, we have yet to take on those Gators of Gainesville, but we just got our asses handed to us by Coach Prime.
Yeah. Did you guys think you were going to win
Travis
that game?
Hunter, and the rest of the Colorado Buffalo.
Did you think you were going to win that game?
We were favored by 14.5. And I knew we would not cover 14.5. In fact, I didn't bet, but I picked in my like little fantasy pick'em league that I pay $100 to be a part of. I actually picked Colorado to cover, or I picked Colorado with the points. Yes, I go into every game. I'm a homer. I go into every game thinking we're going to win. Every single game, and we got just housed.
Yeah, shout out to the field that looks like ass, by the way.
What's wrong with the field?
It looked like shit.
Did it? I didn't watch it on TV. I was actually there, John. That's what I do.
Then you could have got a close-up view of like the patch they had, like the square where the UCF logo is.
I was on the field. I was actually on the field pre-game. Shout out to my boy Nick Smith over at UCF.
Yeah, you got credentials? You had to wear your lanyard on that?
I did not have to wear a lanyard. I had to put a wristband on it. I got down on the field just pre-game.
Really?
But no, it was cool because my son's on that field now as like a student manager.
Really?
Yeah, so he came over and said hi, took a picture with his mom. It was a good deal.
Cool,
it was a good deal, except for the final outcome of the score was pretty pathetic. You know what I'm not into this year? NFL football.
Yeah, I didn't really watch too much.
Yeah, I'm just not. I mean, I follow it. I'm in a couple fantasy leagues. Obviously, we talked about that a couple episodes ago about the really cool letter I got from getting my rear and kicked it in fantasy.
Yeah.
But I'm just not into it.
Yeah,
So
sports suck, man.
yeah. So I think by the time you drop this, we're going to be like second week of October. I'm going to be 1 week out from my half Ironman in Wilmington, North Carolina. So shout out to the people in Wilmington, North Carolina.
Well,
But
that's a
nonetheless,
great segue into
what a great
today's,
segue.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know what you're talking about. Go ahead. Just start talking.
Well, if you listened,
I don't.
okay, if you listen to the soft intro, I kind of had a football feel about coming into today. And look, most of our podcast episodes these days, they come from some inspiration from recent current events, whether it's a coaching call that I was on because I was being coached, whether it's a coaching call that I was conducting because I run a coaching company designed specifically for mortgage loan originators and mortgage sales professionals, or whether it's something that came up in one of the branches that I help lead or one of the regions that I help lead for lower. Like, I find that if you just put your head on a swivel, you open your eyes and open your ears, there's content all around us. So today's episode is coming from various points of aha moments where I'm like, damn, that would make a great episode. Wow, that's a really good lesson. Could I talk about it for 25 minutes with John?
I mean,
So-
you could talk about anything for 25 minutes, Dustin, mortgage related or not.
Yeah, I think that's a slight dig at me.
The truth.
The truth hurts?
Nah, fucking truth. Don't nobody give a shit, but you do have the gift of gab, so you could talk about anything.
All right, so where do you want to start?
I don't know, Vince Lombardi. You said offense is a good defense or something.
Well, let's say, here's the deal. And I'm going to be able to talk on this subject as it pertains to being an individual mortgage broker or a loan originator.
Okay.
I'm going to be able to speak on this topic as being a branch manager, whether you're producing or non-producing, and possibly even speak towards, maybe not on, but towards it if someone's running their own company. And it doesn't have to even be mortgage specific if they're running their own company, but these are just some of the life lessons and business lessons that I've picked up along the way. And a lot of times my lessons either come from colossal mistakes I made and learned from. They come from colossal mistakes others have made. And I was like, damn, don't do that. It's also been studying the success of others. I'm like, damn, what's making them so successful? What's something that stands out? And I come on and we pontificate, we discuss, and we share. The whole purpose is to make you say, maybe to get you pointed in the right direction from a thought process, and then you can go explore that or go down that path on your own. Mm-hmm. So I'm going to speak to a individual sales professional. Now, in this case, it could be a mortgage loan originator or a mortgage broker, but it might not be, right? Because this may apply to other sales professionals, especially those in the financial world. Mm-hmm. I learned early on in my career that I could become very territorial over my referral sources. I could get pissed when they referred another lender not named to me. I could get so angry when I saw another lender posting on their Facebook or dropping off marketing collateral, at which point it distracted me from my day, allowed my energy to go negative, and I made my sales approach all about protecting that one referral source. You, John, I gotta box you out. I got to put a fence up around this. Now, don't get me wrong. We're going to talk a lot today about this. I'm not saying we don't need a defense, but I'm saying in business, I have learned and found a good offense is better than a great defense. And a great defense can be a losing proposition. And maybe I want you all to think about this. If I made my business, again, whether I'm a single originator or I'm running a company that I own, if I made my business practice all about defending what I've built and defending my territory, there's only two things that can happen. I can stay the same or I can lose market share. That's it. But if I made my entire focus on growth and expansion and creating a vision and sharing that vision and then executing that vision, then my position can stay the same or it can get better. So I want to focus on the things I can control, and I want to focus on making my intentionality about growth and not about protecting what was already built or protecting what's already there. So what I learned as a individual loan originator early on in my career is, and I want to give kudos, it's her birthday today, by the way, Jenny Weimer with Weimer Group Realty out of Orlando, Florida. Jenny pulled me aside. And long story short, she kind of like big sistered me. And she basically said, Dustin, we love you. You do a fantastic job. In fact, we refer you the most amount of business, but you're not our only lender. But I can tell you this, you're acting pretty territorial. You are stomping around. You are, talking bad about the other lenders that we've partnered with. It's not about you. It's about us, and you get to be a part of us. So she's like, keep being you and keep providing value, and we will continue to refer you, and you will continue to get the lion's share of those referrals. But the minute you start becoming territorial, we're gonna not want to work with you. And I didn't maybe necessarily know what I was doing, and I thought what I was doing was the right thing. But what the lesson she taught me was two. One, that was the day that I learned I'm just a vendor. Look, I was a vendor that was invited to go on vacation with them. I was a vendor who was invited to play ultimate frisbee on Sundays with them, but I was a vendor. So I needed to make sure that my relationship with them was one in which was professional. We were friends because of the professional relationship, but we weren't friends before the professional relationship. So that was a good life lesson that I still carry with me today. But it was also one in which it's like, look, I can control what I can control. It's my marketing efforts with Jenny and all of her agents. It's how I treat their borrowers or their clients and their customers. It's how I can help them convert more leads. It all became less about what others were doing and what others were offering and who else they were referring. And it was just me about getting my fair share. Once I could wrap my head around that, I was like, damn, my business changed because my perspective changed. So that was the wrong move, was me playing defense. Mm-hmm. The right move was me playing offense. And by the way, as a part of offense, I had to learn what those competitors were doing. And if they were doing something I wasn't doing and it was working, I probably should swipe and adapt it, right? But I didn't have to work against them. I had to work for me. So I think that was the first instance at a very basic individual level where that applied.
Yeah, it's not a monogamous relationship.
It is not a monogamous relationship. And
it's very hoary-like.
You try not to be hoary-like.
You sleep around a lot when you're a mortgage professional. You get in bed with a lot of people.
As a lender?
Yeah.
As a lender, you kind of have to.
Yup.
As a lender, you kind of have to.
For sale.
Yeah. But I was thinking more like if I was a successful realtor, I would only need 2 or 3 lenders. Right. So it's a little bit of a polygamous relationship. Okay.
Right.
Like, but
BYU.
Yes. It's a BYU relationship. Wow. You went there, didn't you? So let's graduate this conversation a little bit.
Okay.
Let's go and talk about, hey, you now run a branch. Again, it doesn't have to be mortgage related. It could be anything related.
Mm-hmm.
And as you build this business, you have sales professionals that you're employing, and those sales professionals are out there bringing in orders. They're out there building relationships. They're generating leads. Those leads are amounting to closed volume.
Mm-hmm.
And what happens if those people want to take their talents elsewhere? Like what happens? Like we talk about this. Like I recently just went through a career change after 16 years. And behind the scenes for the TLOP audience, we are building out a career advisory solution, we'll just call it. It's just basically like a hotline for people to call in and get some solid, unbiased career advice, probably from me or from Aaron Hahn, who I'm partnering with on this. And what Aaron and I have agreed to always do through this advisory service is to recognize 2 things. The first is 4 out of 7 times when someone's entertaining making a move, the right solution is to stay where they're at. And it's our job to tell them that. But at the same time, if they don't entertain it, they're always going to have that doubt. They're always going to have that what if aspect. Whereas like when I went through my process, I knew wholeheartedly I was going to go out and talk to half a dozen companies. I talked to almost a dozen, but half a dozen companies. And it very well may lead me back to where I was the best place for me, short-term, mid-term, and long-term. Like I knew that was a very possible solution, and I needed that because I was at a place in my career where I was doubting. I was doubting myself. I was doubting the company. I was doubting, everything. So I needed something that would allow me to re-engage because the last thing I wanted to be was like kind of stuck in purgatory. So when you're running your own branch, you are going to hear of your, in this case, brokers or originators or sales professionals who are potentially entertaining career opportunities not with your branch any longer. And it's like, how do I teach someone to A, be okay with that? Because B, there's a great chance that your salesperson needs that in order to actually double down on their efforts with you. Like that's, like the numbers are 4 out of 7. Like that's what we coach. That's what we teach, 4 out of 7. Now that does mean 3 out of 7 times, the people are going to end up making a move. Like they just are. And I don't think there's a whole lot that we can do in today's day and age to prevent that. People will make moves based on irrational decisions. Like we're humans. We're humans. Like John, you probably broke up with a girl and she shaved her head.
I've never had a girlfriend. Just my wife.
Okay. Well, in your alternative life.
Yes.
The guy that stayed single, the guy that had 15 girlfriends in college, plus dated 3 girls at a time in his 20s.
Yeah.
I'm sure at a time you would have broke up with someone and she was so heartbroken that she either like dyed her hair bright green or she shaved her head. Right. It's an irrational decision because she didn't like something that was going on in her life. Like we know that of the 3 out of 7 that end up making a move, one of them very well could be irrational.
Yeah.
Right. Meaning the right decision may have been staying at their current company, but they're going to move anyhow. But then 2 out of 7, it was the right move. At which point, if I'm running that branch, I don't want that person. Like I want people who are committed. I want people who are on board in the boat, rowing together. Like that's what I'm looking for if I'm the person who's leading that branch. But when I talk about a good offense is better than a great defense, here's what I see more people do. And I have to say that throughout my career, I have been very susceptible to this. Like you can say, I have been in this rut before. I'm teaching this lesson based on things I've learned. I worked so hard to protect what I built that I wasn't focused on creating a work environment that more people wanted to be a part of. I worked so hard to convince someone that they needed to stay with me that I wasn't out there sharing the vision with people who wanted to be a part of that vision. And what I noticed is that long term, it was detrimental. Like that shit adds up like compound interest. That's the whole 1% better. You can also get 1% worse. But I didn't know any better. I was prideful. I was defending something that I cared a lot about. Those people. I cared about the reputation. I cared about so much. But what I learned and what I would tell my younger self is, look, you need to consistently be creating a work environment that your people that work with you still want to be a part of. You need to consistently be sharing your vision and letting people know where they fit into that vision. But my job in this case as a regional or branch sales leader, my job is to be great at attracting talent, then supporting that talent. My job is to be sharing a vision. My job is to be staying one step ahead of the curve and to be attracting people who want to be a part of that. I can't focus my effort and energy to stopping every person who wants to explore career opportunities elsewhere, especially when 4 out of 7 times they're going to lead them right back to me and they're going to be that much more committed because they had a chance to explore. If I was so good at onboarding, I wouldn't have to worry about offboarding. Now, don't get me wrong. It doesn't mean like go out there and hire and recruit, throw people into seats. And if it works, it works. If it doesn't, it doesn't. Like nobody wants to work for a shitty company. To me, it's a shitty company or it's a shitty branch or it's terrible leadership. Like you definitely want to go out and be forward thinking and you want to share a vision. You want people to buy into that vision. You want them to come work with you and you want to be able to support them. Sure. And you want to continue to support them so that there's a culture. But what I don't want to do is be so focused on that girl who left that I'm not focused on the 5 that stayed. I don't want to be so focused on that satellite branch in Clearwater, Florida that just left and I missed the opportunity to open up in St. Augustine and Valdosta, right? And I think that's the message that I hear resonating. And this came up with a branch manager that I was recently coaching, and it came up on a coaching call with 17 loan officers. So there's different facets. And obviously, if you run a company or own a company, the same principles apply, right? Like at a very basic level, once you learn how to be 100% commission salesperson, your personal brand, you work for UCOM LLC, the next natural step is to do that at the branch level. Once you do it at the branch level, the next natural step is to do it for multiple branches until eventually you can say, well, I can do that at the company level because it's very similar principles that apply. The moral of the story and the message today is simply, y'all, work on and focus on and spend your effort and your energy on being really good at offense. Just really good. Because a really good offense in business is going to be way better than a great defense. You know what your great defense is? It is that culture that you built. It is how you support. It is how you respect, or it is how you celebrate those people. It is how you treat them. Like that's the defense. The defense isn't threatening them that if you leave Verizon and you go to AT&T, your life's going to suck. No, it's not. And that's a different aspect. Like that's not, like talk to me about why Verizon's going to be the right solution for me. Don't talk to me about like everything I'm going to lose if I go over to AT&T. And I think too many times it's a negative energy. Mm-hmm. And I think I want to stay on positive energy. Positive energy to me is visionary. It's growth. It's focusing on getting 1% better. It's focusing on finding the right people who want to enjoy what it is that we're providing, that want to be a part of what it is that we're doing. It's worrying less about those that have made the determination that they need to move on. So that was kind of like the moral of the story. It's something that's pretty relevant in a lot of people's lives, and hopefully within this soliloquy, if you want to call it that, John, people found value.
Come on, let's now win the day. Let's go get 'em, hook 'em horns, or charge on Knights.
There we go. Go Knights, charge on.
What does your license plate say again?
Sure, why not? What a great motto in life, John. Sure, why not? Ask me a question.
I thought it was Sir Knight.
No, it's sure, why not?
And on that note, ladies and gentlemen, he's Dustin Owen. I'm John Coleman. That's all the time we have for you today. We look forward to catching you on the next episode.
Hey, make sure you're doing this for us. Make sure you've gone to YouTube and subscribed. You go to tloponline.com and you sign up for our newsletter. Share us because sharing is caring. Connect with me on LinkedIn, first name Dustin, last name Owen. And once you've decided that you need business coaching and sales training, take a look at what we're doing over at the TLOP MLO coaching community. You won't regret it.
What? That's how you're ending it? That shit was all like awkward.
Well, you kind of ended it for us.
I know, but that was a joke, but now you have to do it. You can't just end on that note.
Oh, well, he's John Coleman. I'm Dustin Owen. You've just tuned into the Loan Officer Podcast. That's all the time we have for you today, but we do look forward to catching you on the next episode. Peace.